Now, this episode is proudly presented to you by Manhattan Avenue, the magazine and media platform for the extraordinary life. From New York City to Cape Town and everything in between, Manhattan Avenue is a platform to share your stories, experiences, and perspectives. We've got the latest issue of the magazine currently now available on manhattan-avenue.com. So grab your copy and experience the extraordinary life. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in. On this episode of the Vuyo Show, we bring you yet another individual who's doing extraordinary things right here in New York City. You might have seen him on your screen. You might have seen him on your social media. But today we have him right here on the show. He's a multidisciplinary artist who has done extraordinary things. And today we're unpacking what it takes to build a brand in New York City. Ladies and gents, wherever you are, please put your hands together for the one and only Slimster.
The crowd goes wild.
What's up?
Hi, I'm well. I've got my cup of coffee, so you know, it's a great start. Yeah, I'm off to a great start.
How are you?
I am fine, thank you. I am fine. I'm fine. I've been in a while, so I have no complaints there. Actually, you know.
I think we ask that question to each other a lot as people, and we never really kind of.
Yeah, like I know you're gonna say you're fine. That's
Yeah.
How are you? Yeah.
But how are you really?
Are you really?
Yeah.
Because we in a capitalistic system, you know. If you ask how you are, it's therapy. You know, you have to charge. It's not. No one's doing a free session. It's not, how are you?
Tell me more.
Yeah, exactly. Now you're tapping in.
Yeah.
You gotta make sure, you know.
But I was just, curious to ensure that you're good before we begin this conversation.
Okay, so then if I wasn't, so are we gonna get into like a therapy session?
Maybe.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, you have the blazer. You're halfway prepared.
I just need glasses now and a pen.
You know what I'm saying? Just a pen. You know, I wouldn't mind. Okay?
But it's so great having you here.
It's great.
It's been a long time coming.
It's great being here.
It's been a long time coming.
A really long time coming.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to be here.
And I introduced you as being a multidisciplinary artist.
Yeah, no one ever does. You know, and I'm really honored by that. Thank you so much.
What do they say normally?
They skip steps. They don't really acknowledge the other aspects of me, and that's fine. But I get it.
Yeah,
there's only so much you can consume. But you know, it's interesting when parts of yourself aren't usually acknowledged get brought up. You know. But
I think multidisciplinary is the best way of explaining because you're multi-talented.
Thank you.
And there are so many brackets of all of those things that you do, and we're going to unpack all of them today. That you do.
We have the time. Yay.
And all of them have so much kind of value in the creative space. And I always want to get into the head of someone who has so many talents because I don't know what is inside your head, right? If you possess all these talents, that mean that there's so much that you have to tap into different parts of yourself for these expressions to come out.
Oh, it's a mess.
From music to art to fashion to comedy to, did I say all of them?
Yeah, to style to, you have to tap into all of it.
Yeah. And when the word personal brand is being used, do you kind of feel like that's how you best describe what it is that you are, or you kind of bracket it as the artist, or...
I bracket it as the artist because that's the easiest to understand at the moment. You know what I mean? But like also all of these things are all very new. We are literally at the frontier of all these personal brand. Yeah. Like they existed, but I don't think that they existed the way it does now, where everyone is being told like you need to build your personal brand. You know?
What does that even mean?
Hey, listen, I was watching, I don't know if you've seen those crazy 80s documentaries that are on Hulu. Does these little flashbacks where they talk about like tycoons and business, people from the 80s that took over industries and whatnot. And they were talking about the woman who did the insane workout. Yeah. Where like it was basically just housewives and people that were just stuck at home a lot. They would just do these insane headbands, the tights, and the insane workouts. And I was watching that documentary and I thought it was so interesting because it's like that's not our time, right? I didn't grow up on that, but like I used to, we've seen jokes about the time, but we never really knew what it was like to live in the time. And then they went back and they're talking about it. And these people were influencers. These people were blatantly building personal brands first before they actually built a business.
Yeah.
And people like followed the person before they follow the business. So this model has always existed.
Yeah.
This like, it's always been here, but it's so interesting how it's being used now as though personal was never a part of the brand,
And you consider yourself a personal brand?
Yeah. I think I started out, the number one thing is when you start out treating everything from a personal perspective, like it's all personal at first. And then immediately people start to come to you for the personal foundation that you've built. At that point, that becomes, now it's endorsed, right? So now you're branded, which is very organic, which is why I think it's sometimes interesting when, people are like, I'm trying to build a personal brand. I'm like, it's your person.
You're the person.
You're the person. You're not building a personal brand. You're just being the person, So it's not, I like to think it's always been here, every single aspect of the personal brand. So
and I find that it to be, again, because it's used a lot right now in the cultural zeitgeist, like personal branding, you know what I mean? Like it's the word. And everyone's trying to figure it out. Everyone's trying to figure out, like, what does that look like? Does it look like your perspectives being publicized? Does it look like your persona being publicized? Does it mean your talents? What exactly is it that makes the personal brand the brand? What aspects of yourself are you putting out for that to be what connects with people?
1,000%. As someone who's always trying to solve the algorithm, I have been a big experimenter of the algorithm, and to my own detriment sometimes. And I've come to understand that like the personal aspect is how personal it gets. So, for example, the thing that people tell other people about what you are is the thing that's personal.
Okay.
You sometimes cannot even perceive, or you wouldn't actually have your finger on the pulse of what it is that you do or what you are.
Yeah.
Most people will actually have a better perception of what it is that you do. And they can actually have a better, because if you're like myself, a creator who's just constantly emitting and putting out into the world, you don't actually have the time to sit to think about how and when you are, right? So you need all of that time. You need to maximize all the time that you have in being productive, right? But while you're doing all of this, the people that are taking you in are scanning through and perceiving what exactly, it is that you do. And they'll say it back to you too. Like, I really love how you make such social commentary on the culture and whatever. And you're like, man, I was just frustrated about the tickets at the door. I don't I didn't really think I was making a commentary on the culture, but it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all of that stuff, it's interesting to know, because it's like you then realize that you just have to come as you are and trust what you are. Yeah. And hope that that perspective, actually don't even hope. The world is always looking for fresh new ideas and fresh new perspectives. So the thing that you think is probably the most weird thing is probably just the thing that hasn't been said yet. And once it's said, it's over with. Now you're the brand that people identify with that message or that dogma. So. And
they say that if you have something strong enough to say, there's people that think that.
Absolutely.
That want to say that.
Even weak enough.
Yeah.
Even strong enough. If the idea is too strong, and this is the mistake I see people make on the algorithm, if the idea is too strong, that it's a crazy jarring one, and you feel like it's going to tear people apart, it's going to cause chaos, but ultimately add to your momentum, great. You could choose to go the polarizing route, but if it's also light enough, right, and it's so light that you're like me, people are going to really think I'm stupid. Like, this is what it's going to be. People are going to think I'm really slow with this one. This is digging into that one too has momentum, right? It's just kind of the laws of the universe. It's like you have a whole spectrum of an experience of life, and you could either be really polarizing or you could be really relaxing. But either way, you're tickling parts of the brain. If the thought is so stupid, right? You ever heard someone have a thought so stupid that you're like, wow, that was kind of comforting.
Because I think that too.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of it. And that's the best part about comedy. It's like, or humor or should I say philosophy. It's like there's some thoughts that are like, wow, like how did you get there? But that was cozy because it let my brain relax for a bit, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
And it's such a jarring thing because doing it in New York is a different, I would assume, is a different experience than doing it anywhere else in the world. And in this season, like that's what we're unpacking, doing that thing that you're doing and doing it in this city. And why the city makes sense for you to do it in the city. Because
I grew up in Lagos, Nigeria. and honestly, there's no other city that matches the energy of Lagos than New York.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing. Like you could try, but you know, and I always say like you can find everywhere in New York, but you can't find New York anywhere. You know, and just based on that rule, that law alone, you really, it's obvious to see that it's not something that you can just, it's not a magic you can replicate so easily.
Yeah.
You know, New York is, that's why it's in every movie that has teleportation or aliens. It's like, it's not something that you get, like even if you were to blank out, show up in a different universe, you would be like, where's New York? You know what I mean? Like,
where's the yellow cab?
Where's the yellow cab? Where's the Empire State Building? You two start looking.
Where's the noise?
You know? So it's like, there's just certain cities that are more like not just the exception, but the rule, you know? So that's how I see New York. And for me, it was like operating or creating in that space would be ever edifying.
Yeah.
You know, and I just love that. Like there is not a shortage. In fact, New York always slaps you out of your own selfish experience. It's the best.
Yeah.
It slapped you too.
It moves you. It moves you. Yeah.
No matter what you're going through, it's like, it'll wake you up. Like this morning I had a thought when people say like, if you love what you do, the money will come. There's a lot of people that love what they do in New York and the money is not coming. I see them every day. I see it. And that is one thing, and that's why sometimes is New York grounds you because you hear quotes like that. You might believe. You might believe that if I don't use strategy, if I just keep going, keep loving, someone's gonna bring me money. No. Okay? But New York is like, you know, it's a physical manifestation of that. It's a living city. You know, it's really, really alive and I don't think that there is a better city for a creative, you know?
And any creative.
I think, I mean, it depends on the kind of creative you are, right? Even if you were a traveling one, again, the city encompasses that spirit of traveling. So you still want to be in touch with that, you know? So now this is not against any other city. Love all the other cities and all the other creatives that are out there. They all have their charms. There's certain cities I go to and I'm like, man, I would love to stay here if I didn't have responsibilities, but yeah, I really love it here.
It's the best city in the world. And the success that when you get here, it kind of expands and goes everywhere. Would you kind of say that having success in New York has really catapulted your career in a way that has made it possible now for you not to only cement yourself here, but to be kind of globally recognized and known in other cities and other countries because you made it in New York?
You're buttering me up globally. Well, yeah, I would say it does give you the language of the world. It does help you with the language of the world because you meet just about every type of soul there is here. Like you're not at all disconnected at any point. Like, you know, I do some of these series and these plays of on different cultures online where I do impressions and people, you know, laugh at it and they're like, oh, you must be well traveled. I travel. I do my fair share of traveling, but some of those perspectives are not even from traveling. Some of them is just like being in New York and hearing people and overhearing conversations. And you're just like, wow, this is interesting. It's like how I process them and how they process me, you know, like it's fascinating, but it definitely is a center point of the world. Like you can't, like all the cultures are here. Yeah. You know, Brazilians have their own community. Koreans have their own community. Yeah. Japanese have their own community. Literally. You know, Italians, Chinese. So it's like you can't, you know, you just, what can beat that? You know?
Nothing. And I'm kind of curious now on when and how do you discover your talents? Like, at what point does it come to you when you kind of like, oh, I actually have a talent in this? Would you be experimenting with it? Did someone tell you? For all the things that you kind of...
I would say discernment. You know what I mean? Discernment, being perceptive. Like, how would you say you knew that you could do this?
I did it a couple of times.
Right.
Maybe I saw someone doing it and I was like, that looks cool. And it felt like something I was
And
gravitating.
it built momentum, right? And you were like, I'm very curious about life. I want to do this professionally. I want to be curious professionally. And then you double down and you start to become that. And that's how it is with anything else creative. It's kind of like, I believe that if you can move one or two spirits, you can move multitudes, you know? And even if you even move your spirit, if there's anything that you do that moves you to have a spiritual response, even in the smallest inkling, that ultimately should tell you everything you need to know about what it is that you're working on. Like if at any point you are painting or you're making a beat or playing an instrument and you even shed a tear or you even feel a thing, that right there, if you can feel it, multitudes can feel it. Like we are a collective experience. It's something I insist on saying and I drive home all the time. Like when you see those fishes in the water, right? And they move, right? And they're like kind of moving in tandem with each other and there's like a flow. I think that that's how human beings like flow on a spiritual level. We just don't know it, but we can catch it. It's very tangible in only moments of creativity and art. Because in those moments we're like, whoa, like this is, you know, we're all hearing and feeling this at the same time. We're all forced to shut up and stop our inner voices. And for the first time, we're all forced to have this experience. And in those moments, that's why we think they're so spiritual. That's why church is a thing. That's why temples are a thing. That's why choirs are a thing. Because when you're forced to shut off your inner voice and you now feel the collective, and the collective feels inspiration or exoneration together, like there is a different, like it just hits, you know? So if you do that privately and you know in that moment, you feel like you're like, what I've done here, you know, it has to, like someone has to. Not, I don't mean blind confidence, like of like, because right now there's, I always say there's a problem we have right now because I think it's kind of a crisis in a sense because the generation behind mine is currently coming up. All they've known is the internet. So they don't know a world of developing a talent or a skill or a passion without visibility. So immediately they strike a match and create fire, people are telling them to go out and build a lamp. You know, like it's just the minute that they have a little bit of magic, they're like, hey, you need to go to Hogwarts. Like it's a little aggressive and there's no time to sort of cultivate and like harness that passion and really build and really feel what you're creating. There's not enough time. And it's sad, you know, it's for some things, I mean, some magic is still going to come of it, but I just feel like it's something that you have to make a conscious effort to do in your own personal time where it's like you have to feel what you're creating, what you're doing to now say, hey, I want to take this to 100 or 50 people and say this is like a real thing, you know?
And how long has it taken you to establish?
Oh, it's still taking me. I don't really believe yet, to be honest. Like I create what I create, but like I'm constantly like wondering if it's really a good creation or I'm just like pumping myself up, you know? Like, is that a nice instrumental or did you want to feel like you're capable of doing this? You know, is that a nice painting or are you just trying to send across the point that you can paint? You know, that's why like a lot of artists and a lot of painters tend to go from very expressive styles, like hyper realistic, big grand styles to minimalism or expressionism or impressionism, because you find more ways to sort of simplify and be less showy. Like it's not about the exhibition anymore. Now it's about how does it make you feel or what's the message, right? Because you're done flexing, you're done showing off like I'm so good, I'm the you know, and now it's time for you to really tap into yourself. So what were we talking about again? I feel like
how long it's taken you to build and and I asked this question because of what you had said earlier about the fact that we are now in a time where foundational structuring has kind of eroded a little bit, where we now see buildings and the foundation of those buildings is not solid enough, right? So to kind of someone like yourself who has done the work of building the foundation, to then understand how long does it really take? What does it really take? How many not even hours, but what is the 10,000 hours look like for you?
I would say the youthful exuberance is necessary. Like, I think the youthful exuberance is very underestimated a lot of the times. It's always trying to be like, people are always trying to like hone it and sort of like discipline it. But that exuberance actually, when channeled right, can actually make or break you. Like, that's exactly where the building happens, because you get obsessive, in those years. Like, when I was learning how to do most of the things that I do, I think that I was just obsessed with apps or obsessed with tonality or delivery. Like, you hear certain people talk and you're like, man, that was a seamless like way to communicate.
Yeah.
Like, I want to do that. I want to be better at that. Like, I don't want to ever have a difficulty speaking again because of what I just heard, right? So now you do anything you can. You read, you listen, you watch, you try to sharpen those parts of yourself. And it could take anywhere from 10 to 15 years, I would think, on average.
Yeah.
Yeah. But mine, I think, because I've been experimenting since I was like, 12? I would say it's always kind of like been there.
Yeah.
I've always been like, if I see something being done a certain way, I'm like, okay, how do I hone that and harness that to create something purely of my, to my liking or to my passion,
Yeah.
So.
And I don't know if a lot of people know how philosophical you are beyond just, and you said early on that, comedy, you use comedy and philosophy in the same sentence. And I don't know if you heard yourself say that. I was listening and you were like, comedy, philosophy. And I was like, are we cognizant, right? And comedy being the first bracket that we're going to kind of dive into that you're known for. And is that your way of kind of spreading to the world, your way of philosophy, but doing it in a comedic way as an expression?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, people die for philosophy, the very groundwork, the very forefathers of philosophy were mostly condemned for their ideas, right? So like, and if you think about even the middle point, even at when philosophy started to transition into the behavioral sciences, like even in those spaces, there was a lot of conflict and a lot of like backfire for just having ideas that people weren't like used to or people didn't want to dive into. So like, when you like see that pattern of how society treats ideas or how society does not want to sort of accommodate any ideas that feel unfamiliar, you can't just go out without a bulletproof. You understand?
Because they'll come for you.
Yeah, because they'll come for you. Yeah, you can't just go out like, you have some of the OGs, some of the people, the icons like George Carlin, who like is such an iconic like comedian who in his later years went full like, like he stopped being metaphorical. He just blatantly said the thing, which was funny, but it's like, you realize that it's a vehicle for most comedians. Like, until you get to the point where you don't care anymore, because you're like, I got 10 years left on earth. Like, screw it. I can just say whatever I want.
Yeah.
But it's ultimately a vehicle to get your thoughts or ideas or perspectives about the world out without, catching any flack back,
Yeah.
You could just stage or position something a certain way. And that would be like this morning, like I remember I did a video where I was saying, I'm very sad, I'm very sad sometimes because, I wish I could make my enemies happy and settle for less,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I know that if there is a harsher way to say that, right?
Yeah.
But I knew that if I said it in form of a comedic delivery,
Yeah.
everyone would laugh. Everyone would say, I feel, I get it, But in a different tone, if I said like, sometimes I wish I could empathize with people who choose to live life below a certain standard, but
Just to make the enemies happy.
right.
Yeah.
But you say that, and it was like, wait, first of all, this guy, you think your life is better? What do you think you had figured out?
Who are you?
That we don't, yeah. So besides, so now they're not laughing anymore.
Yeah.
They're just attacking full on.
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely is a vehicle. I definitely use it as a conduit of sorts to sort of like keep my worst thoughts at bay or from being translated to being the worst.
And a lot of the times, I think comedians don't know that when we laugh, sometimes it's because we know what they're saying is true. Or, you know what I mean? Like, because you the laugh is maybe in agreement. Or that's what I was thinking, but I just did not have the liver to say it.
Yeah, because you're laughing because you got caught. Like remember what I said? Like, there's a part of your brain that gets tickled when that happens, and you're like, "Hey, this guy, man, he said the thing.
He said
the thing."
Yeah.
And then there's also the issue with like, because remember, like I said, a spectrum. So comedy has different perspectives and different directions in which you can go. So you have the direction in which, like, you could do it in a sense of where it's relatable, right? Where the person hears something that they know, they've experienced before, and they don't understand. But you also have the perspective of that is not relatable, right? The perspective that is a portal. This is where you're bringing people into your world.
Okay.
Right? And that's where in comedy we call the setup, right? You have to set the joke up because you set it up by bringing these people into your world. You describe the scenario, the people that were in there, the setting, the space, the time. And then you deliver this is where you deliver the plot twist, the unexpected, right? Either the unexpected or you give them exactly what happened in the scenario, but then have them sit with you in how ridiculous it was, right? So now it's like, it's different dimensions of the brain that you're literally triggering because on one end it's like, oh my God, I know exactly what you're talking about. I've been there. And on the other end, it's like, what? That happened? And you're like, yeah, can you believe it? And the guy just stood in front of me. And now they're there with you. They're like, he did. You know?
Yeah.
So it's a fun, you know, genre. It's a fun thing to like.
Yeah. How did you know? How did you discover you were funny? So people laughing, and then you were like.
I found myself telling stories either at parties or gatherings, and people would be so tapped in, right? And they'd be so tuned into my version of the story that I was like, I think something's happening here. I don't know, but I think something's happening. But like, I'm not going to look too deep into it, but I'll try. And then eventually I decided to like I think right before the pandemic, I decided to like do like some shadow boxing of sorts and go to these like these ambiguous like comedy clubs and trying out as no one, because, you know, if no one laughs, no one knows you were there. You know, it doesn't exist. There's no records. You know, so I was just trying out, seeing what worked, seeing what didn't, and seeing how the magic of writing, right? That's really what I was trying to crack. I really wanted to know, how does one structure a joke and do beats? You know, like some of the most legendary jokes are the beats. Like you have a comedian set up a joke, put you in a world, and then they have a first beat, have a second beat, have a third beat, have a callback even, right? And then, so like when you have that much, it's like that is some of the most phenomenal type of comedy there is, because the level of intelligence that requires, because you're in the zone, you're talking about a story, you're jumping from one part to another part of the story, right? You're moving between scripts and intervals and interjections, and then you find a way to navigate back to the first beat. I need you to understand, this is like the equivalent of writing a thesis in school and then mastering the routes in which the thesis went, and then finding a way to create plot twists between lines.
And at the end, you say in conclusion.
You know what I'm saying? To draw back to the, oh my God, come on. That is not easy at all.
Yeah.
You know, it's not easy at all. But that, you know, for me, that was some of the stuff that I really was trying to master. Like I really was trying to see how writing worked. Like, you know, like my friends then that I did tell about some of my comedy adventures, I remember they used to think it was funny, but it was like I would bring to them when a writing worked. When a structure worked, and I'm like, yo, look, I did this beat and people loved it. Like, this is crazy. Like the first times I did it, I really felt like a scientist. Like I was like, oh my God. Like I structured words and created a world that people believed, and they were drawn in and they were in there. You know, one of my first writings, I remember first jokes was that I believe that Black people have this beauty about them, which is a rhythm. Right? And I believe that the rhythm is also kind of our strength and our weakness, because when you have rhythm, you can catch the beat. You can also get caught. Because your enemies can now they know where you're going.
Yeah, because they hear your beat.
They can see that you have rhythm, so they know that where you're going. And I said that, you know, the enemies, I will not say names, but the enemies didn't care for rhythm because, right, the colonizers don't have rhythm because of freedom that they've always had. Because they had spent all the time conquering everyone else. You can dance however you want when you had freedom for too long, right? And then I said, if you notice that most of the dances that we come up with are signals for escape.
Ooh, deep.
Yeah, right. So the joke had several beats, and I was like, you see, when Young Jock said it's going down, meet me in the mall.
Yeah.
He's telling you to meet him outside, right?
Yeah.
Meet me
It's going down.
It's going down. You know, when Soulja Boy said, Soulja Boy, you're feeling, woo, he's saying, let's go, ladies. Every dance was about escape.
Yeah.
So it's like you can tell there is a genetic ancestral thing, you know.
Then that philosophy comes in again.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
it comes in within the jokes. But yeah, so it's like that was one of the first ones that I wrote, and I was like, oh my God, this is such great stuff. Like my mind is going. And when it worked, I was in disbelief, you know.
Flabbergasted. And then where does music, and I'm going to put music and art in one bracket, because I kind of feel like those two expressions,
they do flow the same way.
They flow, right? Yeah. So picking up the paintbrush and kind of creating a beat or music.
So I would say the art has always been there. It's just that when you grow up in a country like where it's not, the things aren't readily available to you, it's a little different. Like in Nigeria, it's like I don't think art stores were just there. You know, you took art in school because that was the closest you were going to get to paint, and even the paint you were using, the school had like a certain regiment, like, you know, regimented like usage of it.
Yeah.
So like you would dream of being an artist, but you're like, you know, that's a really grown person's, you know. But everybody also talked about how artists were broke and poor, so you also didn't want to be too associated with it.
Yeah.
So if anybody asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, I would say, architect. You know, I would never. You know, say, what do you want to be, engineer? You touch a paintbrush, you think I want to be poor?
Yeah.
You know, so I was always associating myself with everything but art itself. But I wanted to do it. I get here, and I mean, I already drew. I did like try to do sketches and whatnot. So like that sharpened my drawing skills because there were no instruments for painting. So I was really good. And
what are you drawing? Things that inspire you?
Oh, I was
things
drawing
that you see?
everything. Like in the early days, I would even help my father with his furniture pieces because my dad had tried to do like a furniture line. And he was like, come up with something. Let me see if it's possible. I did something in Microsoft Paint, and he really believed, you know. And so fathers, stay in your children's lives. And at some point, I think I was even sketching just people like Fela, the Pope, putting myself in contests, trying to sort of like communicate with my peers in some ways. I remember I would do this comic books where I would like put stories into them and have people, I'm like, this is issue 1, issue 2, issue 3, with stapler and paper. Sometimes I would just use glue to create, you know, like fake graphic novels. But yeah, I was drawing a lot to compensate for the fact that I didn't have the paint that I was, you know. And then when I got here, I saw how easy it was to get your hand on paint. But of course, you're still figuring it out. You don't have money. You're working. So like I went and got I got like black and white. And I just went home and just started going crazy. I just started like, it was almost like, imagine like you've held something back for so long and it just burst. I was just like, whoa. I have all the paint now. I have all the canvas. I have all the access. Oh my God. You know, so I just, I went off. And then the music was, I had always wanted to know what it was like to create, but then it really was the most organic approach. At the time, used to come across this website that used to have all these apps, and you could just experiment, download, and try out apps that did whatever. There were apps for conversion of audio, apps for editing, and this is where production and music come in. This is where I start doing videos, and start doing Like, I'm like, whoa, these apps can do this and that. Like, this is really crazy. So I start teaching myself, especially when it came down to the music apps. Like, one of the first ones was FL, and you start learning, and you're like, wow, I'm creating every day. I'm after school, I'm running back home. Like, I'm just like, I finished school, and everyone's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I gotta go home, have some stuff, like stuff I'm working on, because at that time, the magic of knowing that your ideas could you haven't even reached the crowdsourcing part of it yet. You haven't reached the aspect of where people are reacting. The idea that you could just put things out, like, from your mind, is blowing you away. Like, you're running home every day and you're just like, I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see what I'm gonna do today. Like, yesterday was strange. And then an even like more world-changing moment, or like was when Soulja Boy first dropped his single Superman, you know what I mean? And I heard the sound kit. Any producer can swear by this. If you started young and you started using FL and you first heard that song, that was one of the first moments of like where you heard the sounds from that app's original sound kit, because you get a default sound kit when you get the app before you start building your sample.
Okay.
But you heard him use the timpani. He uses this timpani drum that's the dun 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 dun. And the first time I heard it, I remember I was like, oh my God, this is real. You have to understand what that does to your worldview in that moment, because you're like, that guy's on TV. He definitely used this.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way he didn't use this. Like, because I'm like, dun, 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 dun. I'm like, he used the sound. This is insane. So when you find that out, you're kind of like, oh my God, I'm doing a real thing. For the first time, this magic world I've been living in between me and after school has been acknowledged by a real-time event. So now it's very real. Now I'm like, what I'm doing is not just private anymore, I still continue working on my music. I don't even put it out at any point. I just thought it was like a personal, up until I think I finally moved into my first place in New York, and I was just like, all right, we got space, we got time. Let's just see. Like, there's no one listening. Like, it can't really hurt. There's no one listening. And I remember I put it out, and I think I got 500 listens, and I think that freaked me out. I think it was 500 listens or 500 downloads or something like that. And I couldn't believe what was happening. I put it on Bandcamp at the time, and I couldn't believe that, like, people were, and it was janky. It was very experimental. Like, I was doing anything, like, like the samples were off. I didn't even have bass lines. I just used to strip sounds with the high pass filter and like use like the bass from that, to make it seem like it was a bass line, but I couldn't play it. I couldn't do anything. I was just like, let's see what happens. And people were like, oh my God, and I was like, wow, this is like a real thing,
Yeah.
So it was all very much organic. It was very much like a gradual flow, even down to the sound that I'm known for now, which is more the African sample sounds, which are now significantly, I see it everywhere now. I'm not going to be one of those creators and I'll be like, everybody taking my stuff. But I think it's interesting how much I see it now, because I'm pretty sure that I just feel like no one can say they didn't see the original.
You inspired it.
Yeah, I just say they can't say they didn't see it. But it was very much like an idea that came because I was getting bored with producing in general. And producers were starting to like go more minimalist routes. This was when Watch the Throne with Kanye and Jay-Z had come out, and I heard some of the beats on that album, and I was like, oh my God, like no one's doing big heavy samples anymore. Like I need to go somewhere else. I need to like listen to other things. And then I think a friend of mine has sent me these women of the Benin, and there was this water drumming tribe, and they were playing in the water, and she was like, you should sample that. And I was like, what I like sampling? I was like, go back to traditional African sounds. I was like, I don't know. She's like, just give it a try. And then I decided to just sit there with it. and just give it a try. And I experimented, played with different sounds, and I was like, whoa. And it blew me away what came up, because I sat there for like maybe 3-4 days just going over that sample. Like, and it was gradual, but it was beautiful. I was like, wow, this is something else. This is like, then I got that creative spark again. So now I'm like, oh my God, I need to find every sound. Because the beauty of this was realizing that every aspect of African sound can be made into music. And I was like, there's so much sound. I was like, I haven't even begun to cover half of the sounds that Africans have made in history that I could pull from video. So now I'm like, oh, this is so many more years of living. It's going to be beautiful. I am so excited for life.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the beauty. That's the best part about creating, I would say. It's like, you start to see what life would be like for 100 years. Immediately you find a new thing. When you find the magic in your creation or your process, that the beauty of that is like, you just know that you can't predict for the next 100. Even if you live for 200, you don't know what you're going to make tomorrow. You don't. And that beauty is like,
that's where the magic sits. That's where it's so beautiful watching you just enthusiastically speak about your work. And I'm sure everyone who's watching as well is like, look at the passion that he
thank you.
uses
I never get to talk about it. It's actually...
I think we should do a part 2.
Yeah, I'm down. Absolutely.
And kind of unpack further and more into it as well. Because there's so much there. And I think also I'm learning as well. As you're speaking, I'm like taking notes. I'm like, okay, that's something to take and learn from.
Thank you.
And so thank you so much.
Thank you for
having me. I have a little gift.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh God, what's the gift?
I have a gift that I prepared. Where is it? If my hand can reach it. I have a gift that I prepared for you.
Oh boy.
It's from our friends at Manhattan Avenue.
Yeah.
We decided to. It's very big as well.
Hey.
So I wanted before we say goodbye, I wanted to just share this with you.
Oh wow! Thank you
just to
so
say
much.
Thank you for taking the time to come and join us.
What did you get me, a PlayStation? What was this?
Look at that! Wow. I just wanted to say thank you for your time.
Let me not be. I'm about to be real African and dig into this thing right now. So what did you get?
But just to say thank you for coming and taking the time to come and share with us a little bit about your journey.
Thank you for having me.
It's inspiring and it's igniting to see. So we'll do a part 2 where we go into the other folds of the art that you get to create and the magic behind Ike.
Oh,
yeah?
Oh boy. Yeah.
I hope that you at home learned a thing or two and of course were inspired by this conversation, because I definitely was. This, of course, is the Vuyo Show. We'll see you on the next episode with another extraordinary individual right here in New York City doing extraordinary things. I'm Vuyo, your host. See you on the next one. Cheers for now.